All right, welcome to the Mangalorian. This is the third stream in our series looking at the original 42 volumes of the Dragon Ball manga, Toriyama's masterwork. We usually do these on Tuesday. I wasn't sure if I was going to do one this week because we're supposed to do it every 2 weeks, but we didn't do one before and some stuff happened. So usually it'll be on Tuesday evenings, either every week or every other week. Obviously, I scheduled this a bit late, so hopefully everybody will have time to join us. If not, this will be up for archive. Like, we're going to archive all of these streams. We've already covered volume 1 and 2 of Dragon Ball in the last couple of Mangalorians. So here we're going to go into volume 3, and this is where things start getting more interesting because now that we're past the Pilaf arc and we're segueing into the 21st Budokai, now is when we start to really dig into the combat side of Dragon Ball. There was always some fights prior to this, but the tournaments really became a staple and a highlight of this whole series, even beyond Dragon Ball, into Z, into GT, into Super. GT only had one tournament, but Super had 2 tournaments, and the last one was the TOP. And we may get more in the future. I mean, who knows at this point? The future of Dragon Ball Super is kind of, a mystery. But joining me right now, as always, my partner with the Mangalorian. I always point the wrong way. I have to point this way, even though it's mirrored. Jordan, what's up, man?
What's up, guys? You ready?
Let's go. I'm ready. All right, let's go ahead and talk about this. So we're going to go into volume 3. Volume 3, of course, picks up with chapter 27 of the Dragon Ball manga, not Super. And let me hide this. As I was saying, we're going to go into the tournament, and not just that, we're going to also discuss the events leading up to the tournament. Jordan has some things to say about Roshi's training, and there are a lot of things that we need to say about it because there are some teachings that Roshi gives Goku here that would follow him for the rest of his life. Roshi was Goku's first trainer, but he's not the most powerful. Obviously, Whis now is the strongest trainer Goku's ever had. But Roshi may have been the most impactful, him and Grandpa Gohan, because the fundamentals of martial arts were taught to him by these 2 people. What do you have to say about that, Jordan?
Well, Grandpa Gohan's role is he had a significant impact on Goku's nature. So the reason Goku is a martial artist by nature is because of Grandpa Gohan. But the more complicated concepts surrounding martial arts, Roshi is the one that gave Goku the rundown when it comes to that type of stuff. So I'm really excited to get into that because Roshi's teachings are really fascinating and cool. So
yeah, I'm a big fan of big fan of this like the martial arts aspect. And I've said this before. I do want to comment that I have said this before in past streams with you, or even like on Twitter, or on Twitch. The thing about Dragon Ball is, if you really want to appreciate Dragon Ball more, you have to expand your horizons to not just other anime, because so much anime came out after Dragon Ball that copied Dragon Ball's formula. I mean, tons and tons and tons. Chances are your favorite anime copied Dragon Ball, especially in the shonen genre. But you have to go back to the past. And if you really want to understand Dragon Ball and where Toriyama got his ideas from, you have to watch a lot of Chinese and Asian martial arts films, and you really understand why Goku makes the choices he makes, why Roshi teaches the way he teaches. Like, that is the key. That is the key to truly discovering like these ideas.
Well, yeah.
Go ahead, bro.
Also, Japanese and Chinese entertainment developed their own form of tropes that are just completely separate to what we have in the West. It's very similar to just having a different culture. The tropes and everything that they implement, even their idea of what morals are and stuff like that, is just completely different because it's not Western in nature. It's Eastern in nature. So you're basically, it's an entirely different world compared to, the way people are raised in the West and stuff like that. So
yeah, and I've said this before. I think a lot of people who are, I don't want to say American, but Western people, their only view on Dragon Ball was the dub, and the dub changes Dragon Ball into where it starts off, it's a very mystical, magical adventure, but the dub tries to make it like a superhero show. And even though there are superhero aspects, it's not a superhero show from the Western perspective. Goku is not Captain America. And this is something I've been trying so hard to explain to people for a long time, not because I'm trying to shatter your childhood, not because I'm trying to ruin what you grew up with, but because I'm trying to tell you that the version of Dragon Ball you grew up with is not the true version, nor is it even a reflection. Like, it's not like the worst thing ever. There's obviously way worse, there's way worse adaptations of things. I feel like with Dragon Ball, though, discovering the true series, whether it be reading the manga or doing homework or watching it Japanese, you really learn what the point of everything was, and you really understand it's more than just some superhero show. There's a lot more to it. Way more.
So go ahead. So for example,
I was going to move on to the chapter, but you go ahead.
So, for example, if you don't know that the character that Goku is based on was essentially evil, you don't understand that a lot of the things you see Goku do are put there in the story to purposely reflect the character that he was based on, who was originally evil. There's just like really nuanced things about the storytelling that you won't catch on to if you don't understand that Toriyama is playing on Chinese legends and lore. As a matter of fact, in the Viz translation of the first chapter of the manga, they straight up ask you if you have an understanding of Journey to the West and Chinese mythology, because they want you to understand that everything is framed around that. But yeah.
Well, I will say that most Dragon Ball fans have probably never read all of Journey to the West, including myself. And Jordan does heavily push that people read it. But the reality is it's a huge story. It's long, and you may not pick, even if you read it, you may not pick up on every single, bit of I guess synchronicity with Dragon Ball. That's the wrong word, but it's the best word I can think of. But that's why Jordan's channel exists. So make sure you go to Jordan the Dragon Lee on YouTube and watch his content, because he goes into that very granularly. Of course, here on Geekdom 101, we cover it on Dragon Ball X Saiyuki, which is the series that Jordan and I do together. This whole Mangalorian series is like a more in-depth version of that, because we're going to go into the manga itself. So we're going to pick up here with Goku, Krillin, and Lunch, and they're on their way back to Roshi's. Lunch is in her blue-haired form. We discussed Lunch's character in the last video, that the last Mangalorian. So if you want more details on her character and that whole idea behind it, let's get to it. Of course, very cute. She's cute and adorable in her blue-haired form, but then when she goes blonde, she becomes this maniac. That's kind of like the whole, that's the whole thing. You know what I mean? That is the whole sort of character. And like we talked about last week, I understand why Toriyama did not use her for the Z portion, because the joke got played out, and he did bring her back. Well, the anime brought her back he was going to bring her back in the Buu arc, and said the anime did it. They brought her back, but the joke of Lunch kind of got played out, and there was nowhere else for him to go with the character. Now, you could argue, and I will make this argument, that Toriyama could have done more with Lunch. I think that exploring Tenshin Han and Lunch's relationship would have been great, but that's just not how Toriyama writes, because he's not good at romance. He's admitted that himself. Why do you think that Krillin and 18 getting together happened off screen, or Gohan and Videl, like some of it happened off screen? He's always said he's not comfortable writing that kind of stuff.
Well, not just that, you overcomplicate the story by focusing on things that aren't the main narrative of the story,
But I agree, but I will also say that I think a lot of people, because this fandom is very wide, and there is the shipping community, I think there is a group of fans that would have liked to have seen more. I mean, I'll put myself in that category. I'm not a shipper, but I would have liked to have seen more of Tenshin Han and Lunch in Dragon Ball. I would have liked to have seen more of it, but I recognize that Toriyama, it's just not what he does. It's just not his.
when he sets something up like that, part of you just automatically craves to see, the summary to the setup, So I think that's a big part of it too.
D in the chat says she was also in the OVA. Yes. And Toriyama is credited as the writer of that. So there you go. But did Toriyama forget about Lunch in the Boo Saga? No, she did not. Go to my YouTube channel right now, which you're on, Geekdom 101. Go to Dragon Ball Mythbusters and go look at the video that says Toriyama forgot about Lunch, true or false. I have done a video on that. Toriyama did not forget about Lunch, and I have a video that proves it. Go ahead, bro.
So one thing I find very interesting, and this is something unless you had context you wouldn't really see. But one thing I find really interesting is I talked about on your channel about how Trippy Taka and Sun Wukong are like the devil and the angel on your shoulders. Essentially, is how they're treated in Eastern lore. It's like the two different aspects of your psychology. If you pay attention, Krillin's personality really complements the issues that Roshi has as a martial artist, and Goku really complements like
Very
the other.
Great. That is a genius observation on your part, bro. Yes. So what he's saying is that Goku and Krillin are the angel and the devil on Roshi's shoulder. Krillin is a pervert like Roshi. Goku's pure-hearted. Roshi's trying to balance these things out, which, by the way, this is the challenge of men. As men, we deal with this. It doesn't matter what your religion is or what you believe in. There's always that push and pull of like, temptation, not necessarily with women only, but also with other things in life. Temptation, whether it be drugs, alcohol, food, doing bad things, and being pure-hearted. We deal with this every day. The Asians are so intelligent in using this in their stories. I didn't mean to interrupt you. It's just I love that observation.
Yeah, it's just an amazing concept. And another thing to point out that's appreciable is the fact that it's a role reversal too, because in the original story, Sun Wukong was the devil on your shoulder, and Trippy Taka, the monk, was the angel. So it's a cool little role reversal in that way too. But I just thought that was cool.
I love it. So here we have Roshi, of course, being like, "Oh, this is great because Lunch is hot or whatever. He likes her, and also Lunch kind of becomes like the like the butler kind of character. Like she ends up here. She is wearing her lingerie. She ends up cooking. She ends up doing things. But here we have what's going to end up being the joke, as you see on your screen right there in the lower right. We have Lunch. With the little bee buzzing, and that's going to make her sneeze and become blonde Lunch. And then when she's blonde, she gains the powers of being able to pull guns out of nowhere, which is such a shonen gag trope that Toriyama has used that guy. I like how up here it says, "Who the fuck are you guys?" This is a fan translation. The real version, she just says, "Who are you two?" or "Who are you three?" or whatever. This fan translation, I picked it because it's pretty damn funny, but she doesn't really say fuck in the Japanese version, but it's still a better translation than Viz when it comes to the purity of the story. But she ends up snapping, and again, she pulls guns out of nowhere. Now, this is a shonen, not just a shonen, this is a manga trope. You have to remember, Toriyama at heart is a gag manga writer. Even when things get serious, even when things get dreadfully serious, there's always a little bit of humor involved. Obviously, at this time, it was more like 50-50, maybe even 60-40, where it's like 60% humor, 40% action. But the humor's still there. But that's why Toriyama even got famous to begin with, is because Dr. Slump was so damn funny.
Yeah, it's entertaining in multiple ways. It's not just fighting. It's not just cool, deep cuts. It's fighting, deep cuts, comedy. Like, it's awesome.
Yeah, and I it's something that, again, this joke right here of her like being all cute and adorable and then sneezing and becoming a menace, this joke right here would be repeated over and over again in Dragon Ball. And I think even Toriyama himself realized, okay, we got to move on, because you can't tell the same joke a million times. It is funny the first couple of times, though, because she ends up blasting them with bullet holes. And of course, bullets don't do anything to them because they're very strong martial artists. So chapter 28, training begins. Now, you said you wanted to dig deep into the training, but I want to get to the training first of all. I'll be honest. When I was younger, I'll be honest about this. I will admit this. When I was younger, Dragon Quest is the reason why Lunch forgot by Toriyama. No, it's not. You're just making that up, bro. Listen, don't come in my chat making up bullshit, bro, when you don't know what you're talking about. Like that's like whoever read that in the chat, it's bullshit. He's wrong. Anyways, the training, right? We're going to get into more like digging into the meat of the training here, because there's a lot of this training that is actually relatively applicable to real training. It's just done in a comedic sort of way. So here we have obviously who's faster between Goku and Krillin, and then Roshi himself is a runner. He's faster than both of them. The key is he's trying to increase their speed. So his version of increasing their speed is basically by using body weights. And this is something, and the body weight is the turtle shell. That's the body weight. In real life, though, in real life training, you can't hold on, let me go back to where we're at. So weighted clothing, which is used a lot in Dragon Ball, you can train like that, but it doesn't really work in the way that it does in Dragon Ball. However, the idea is resistance on your body. Trust me, I know. Look at that right there, bro. You can kiss that if you want to. Resistance is the key. Go ahead, Jordan.
Well, I was just going to say, it's just a certain amount of weight is unrealistic. Like, you can wear some weighted clothes, and of course it's going to help you, burn more calories and be faster when you're not wearing them or whatever. But a certain degree of weight is horrible on your body. So, it is unrealistic in that sense. But, some people do implement weights and weighted clothing. Some people do that. As a matter of fact, I'm sure a lot of people remember back in the 80s and the 90s, they used to sell these weights that you could strap to your legs and your arms. And I'm pretty sure we even see Goku wear those later on in the Buu Saga. But it's a thing, but it's kind of unrealistic to the idea of carrying a huge, heavy turtle shell on your back would be horrible on your back. It's not realistic in that sense.
But in the military, the way that they train is they often carry a giant knapsack. It's the same idea. It's not as heavy as a turtle shell because it's unrealistic, but it's the same idea. When you run with something heavy on your back, you're working on your knees, on your legs, like your quads. You're working on your back. You're working on your shoulders. It's like a full body workout. Dimitri, hold on. I got to answer this in the chat. Dimitri, if you watch the video that I just talked about, the video I just mentioned about lunch not being forgotten, you'll get your answer, bro. You're asking me questions that are answered in the video that I just talked about. Go to my channel, go to Dragon Ball Mythbusters playlist, look for the launch video and watch it. You'll get your answer. So the idea is that the weighted clothing concept, the concept is real. It's just not used in the same way because real humans are not anime characters. Also, you have to work your way up. One of the biggest mistakes I see people make in the gym all the time, and I'm not an expert, but I have lost a lot of weight, as if you can't tell. People try to do super heavy weights right away. Now, if you're doing strength training, that can work, but the key is you work your way up to it. You don't want to get injured. See, in Dragon Ball, Goku and Krillin don't ever get injured. And either way, in the series, we've got like Senzu and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Right. We don't have that in real life. You need to be very careful. You work your way up. You start by curling 10 pounds, then 15, 20. Eventually, when 15, 20 becomes easy, you go up to 30. But of course, in Dragon Ball, we got to speed it along. And there you go. Okay, so next chapter 29 is Search for the Turtle Mark Stone. So Roshi sends Goku on a mission and Krillin to find an artifact. Now, Jordan, I'm going to hope that you know the answer to this. I swear to God, there is a martial arts movie that I watched when I was a kid when the master told his two students to go find a stone. And I know for a fact that's where they got this from. I just don't remember the name.
I don't remember the movie.
If anybody in the chat knows this answer, please let us know.
But it does have the same lesson that they teach in martial arts. This is actually kind of like a trope. I'm pretty sure there's other instances where they throw like sticks or whatever, just whatever. But like the whole entire idea is to make sure you do this without the intentions of cheating.
Hold on.
Like,
I have to answer this chat. The guy said lifting heavy weights will make your muscles bigger. Wrong. That is false information. Ask anybody who knows about lifting weights. That is wrong. You make your muscles bigger through hypertrophy, which is longer reps. That is not how you make your muscles bigger, my friend. Trust me. I have done a lot of homework on this, and I know what I'm talking about. It's not about lifting super heavy weights. It's about lifting more. It's about doing more reps. If you lift 20 pounds twice, you ain't going to get no muscle build. You have no time under tension. You have to lift smaller weights, and then when those become easy, you get the bigger ones, the bigger ones, the bigger ones. That's how you grow muscles. Right, Jordan?
right.
You know, you're ripped. Take off your shirt right now, bro. That's so gay what I just said. But anyways, go ahead.
But yeah, the whole point of this chapter is just to reinforce the idea that, you know, Krillin it doesn't practice martial arts with pure intent, and Goku does. That's essentially the whole entire point of this chapter, is just to reinforce that even further and to make this cool deep cut, of course. But like this chapter can really be summarized as like a series of gags and also a lesson that's profound in martial arts. So.
I just so everybody knows, the reason why I'm even discussing like the lightweights, heavyweights things, I don't want people in the chat to get like the wrong idea. They go to the gym, they try to lift fucking 200 pounds their chest, and they end up breaking their chest. Like, I'm trying to prevent injury here. Do not try using super big weights until you are ready. Try 10s, try 20s, try 30s, whatever is comfortable for you. Do not. It takes time. People don't understand, bro. They're going to sit there and they're going to lift 50 and they're going to hurt themselves. They're going to pull a damn muscle and tear it, and then they got to go to the hospital.
Horrible way to go about working out.
Do not jump to heavy weights. Do not jump to heavy weights. That's all I'm saying. Work your way there. But in Dragon Ball, they jump to it because these are unrealistic characters, but it's still based in realism. So, Jordan, people in the chat were saying Drunken Master. It's a different. I don't know. I don't think it's that movie. I don't think Drunken Master has
it's not Drunken Master.
No, it's not. It's not. It's another movie. I don't even think it's a Jackie Chan movie.
No, it's not. It's probably a nuanced kung fu film. There's a lot of them out there. Toriyama loved that kind of stuff, so you know.
Yeah, I just don't want you guys to get injured, dude. I'm just being real with you. Like, if you think 20-pound weights are easy, great, do that. But don't start with that. Test yourself, see how much you can lift, right? And if it's too hard, go lower. Do not try to be a tough guy in the gym. You are going to hurt yourself. Trust me, I do not want any of you guys getting hurt. I know, because I've had friends of mine that have gotten hurt doing that. Just take your time. Work your way up. All right. I actually care about this, Jordan, because I've seen people like try to be Goku in the gym.
Yeah.
No, I've seen people try to be Goku in the gym and they end up hurting themselves. Like, take it slow, see what you can handle. If 20 is easy for you, then move up to 25. If that's too hard, move down to 20. Like, and then as you build, you go higher. You level up just like Goku does in the show. So I feel like this adventure of Goku and Krillin is kind of all for fun. I do like this little mini fight here that we get. And then we have the milk delivery. So again, the milk delivery is something that I feel is also, it's not borrowed from an original martial arts movie, but I don't believe it is. I don't believe it is, but it is conceptually this idea of characters. Okay, let me break it down. And Jordan, please feel free to jump in. This idea of characters like doing things that seem like average everyday things, but actually is a secret workout, has been done in hundreds of kung fu films. Most notably, Karate Kid. Guys, if you've ever seen Karate Kid, and I know most of you guys have definitely seen Cobra Kai, how did he learn to block? Wax on, wax off. He's sitting there and he's waxing, right? And he's learning block, block, block. But he doesn't know he's learning it. He's just doing what the guy tells him to do, right? So if somebody throws a punch, you block. So that idea of learning techniques without knowing you're learning techniques is one of my favorite aspects of like not just teaching people, but because I learned how to swim like that. I learned how to swim by not knowing I was learning how to swim, and I think it's great. Same thing with the milk delivery. What do you think?
So the Dragon Ball official website actually did a whole article where they were talking about, it's called The Profound Teachings of Muten Roshi. I did a video on YouTube where I covered the article. I'll post that in the
link
chat.
is in the chat right now.
I'll also post the article itself because it's very interesting. But in that article, a professional martial artist basically explains that the whole entire purpose of what Roshi is doing here is to train Goku and Krillin to make nuanced movements with their body, because despite what people think, martial arts and implementing correct martial arts technique is not actually about how physically strong you are. It's about the series of movements that you use and how profound and precise they are. So he actually gives the interviewer a example of this, and he essentially like takes his arm and just holds it with his hand, and he pins the guy down, and the guy feels like he can't move. He feels like he's being held down by a tree or something like that. And the reason for that is because the martial artist has his hand and his technique in such a way that it's just the pressure, the movement, everything is being done in such a way to prevent you from being able to use your momentum to move. So martial arts is actually more about profound movements and nuanced movements and things of that nature than it is actually how strong you are. So what Roshi is doing here is he's using these exercises to essentially help Goku and Krillin create more precise, disciplined forms of movement. So that way, whenever they go to implement techniques in the future, they're doing it with more proficiency. They're doing it better overall. So Roshi's actually secretly training Goku and Krillin here in a very profound way. They just don't realize it.
Someone in the chat said that that the milk delivery's from a 70s Jackie Chan movie. Jackie Chan has so many movies. Like, this guy's made, how many movies has he made? Like over 90 or something like that? Like, I think Steven Seagal might be the only guy who made more. And I have not seen them all. So, and Jordan's a big Jackie Chan fan. I don't even think he's seen them all. Some have never come out. Like, some have never come out of China, I don't think.
No, I try to watch them all the time. Like, I love anything Jackie Chan. Right. As a matter of fact, you just got like a set of Jackie Chan movies, right?
Tex got me the Jackie Chan collection for my birthday. Yeah, the Criterion, the new one, because there's two collections. I do want to get to these super chats here in a minute, but I do want to say, like, you guys are great in the chat, and I want to add something to what I said earlier about the muscles. Just because you have big muscles, and this goes to what Jordan just said, does not mean you know how to hit and does not mean you can hit hard. Trust me when I tell you, because I know this from experience. I've been hit in the face by a dude who's very muscular, and I literally no-sold it. This happened when I was 21. He hit me in the face, and I thought it was like a joke, because he hit me right in the face, like right in the middle of the face, and I was like, that's it? And because I no-sold it, he got scared and didn't hit me again. This happened, I was younger, and I'm not going to get into the details, but let's just say it was my fault because I kind of pushed his buttons. But when he hit me and it didn't do anything, I didn't even bother hitting him back because I was like, fuck it. Having muscles can help increase your strength, does not mean you know how to hit. Accuracy is more important. If you watch the UFC, you'll see smaller guys that are more accurate. Guys like Anderson Silva, he's a 185-pound guy, usually goes into the cage around 215-ish. Back in his prime, he knew how to hit you right on the button. So if you study where to hit someone, if you hit somebody with enough pressure right in here, I want y'all to take your finger and put it right into here, right in here. This little soft tissue area, right here under your chin, right above your chin. If you get hit there, you're probably going down. There is a nerve there that literally makes your knees wobble and you go down. If you get hit here hard enough, boom, you're going down. Temple, you're going down. Back of the head, you're going down. If you know where to hit, it's wet. Because if you hit somebody and they put their head down and you hit their skull, you just broke your hand. You just broke your hand. Like, you have to know how to hit and where to hit. And these are important lessons that Dragon Ball teaches, kind of, but not to the audience, more so to Goku.
Well, martial arts is about training your body, forcing your body to be able to move effectively without you thinking about it. And that's essentially what Roshi's doing here. He's teaching.
And people in the chat are agreeing. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's teaching Krillin and Goku how to move their body without thinking. This kind of feeds into the concept of Ultra Instinct. And just like what I said earlier with that martial artist, he essentially had trained his body so that when his hand and his back move in unison, this technique allows him to shift all of his body weight down whenever he moves his hand forward. And that's the reason the interviewer couldn't move, because it was muscle memory. It was something he trained his body to do. So that's more what this training is about.
Yes, D in the chat just freaking shook. He's not lying. Jackie Chan carrying 2 buckets of water and had to walk back and forth on a staircase. That's kind of like milk delivery. Yes.
Yeah, it's about maintaining balance. Yeah.
No, but he's right. I completely forgot about that. That did happen. I forgot what movie it was, but I do remember seeing that when I was young.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let me get to these real quick super chats here. Shamar Henderson launches like Sun and Moon from that security breach and Hulk from Marvel. I don't know what Sun and Moon is other than the Pokemon Gen 7, but I wouldn't say she's like Hulk. Well, that's not true. There are some parallels there, I will say. Broly to me is more like Hulk, except he doesn't transform. Xavier de God, in the Cell Saga, is Krillin wearing weighted clothing with the blue undershirt, wristbands, and boots, or is it like Goku where it's well made? I don't know. They never specify Krillin's clothing in the Cell Saga, so we could take a guess at it. I'm going to assume it's not weighted clothing, because by that point, that became an antiquated way to train, because they had other methods of training, but it might be.
Yeah.
We just never got an answer. So, yes, D is 100% correct that it is absolutely, he is absolutely right. Travis says, am I the only person who saw correlations between the Rocky franchise and Dragon Ball? No. In fact, I did an entire video on it in 2005. Go to my channel and go to Dragon Ball In Depth, Western influences on Dragon Ball. And I will tell you this, I am planning on doing a whole video about Rocky and Dragon Ball, just focused on that later. But I've already covered it. That's the video to check out. And I want to remind you once again, the lunch thing. I did a video years ago. Did Toriyama forget about lunch? He did not. And I have evidence of all of it in the video. So this scene right here of Goku and Krillin trying to walk over the log right here that you see, and Roshi in front, this is an iconic image, if you ask me. This was used in a lot of flashbacks. It was used all over Japan. This scene is supposed to teach balance. Can you properly get across the log without falling? Now, if you're wondering, do martial artists learn this way? Not always, but you know who does learn this way? Gymnasts. If you ever see a gymnast training, there's a bar they have set up where they stand on it and they walk slowly over it like a tightrope. This is supposed to teach you on how to properly balance your body. Look, you're going to fall and bust your ass a few times. That's the point. That is where they got this from. Everything here is based on real training methods, not always martial arts.
Yeah. It's he's disguising things that we do every day, in different forms of things as martial arts training, which it works. It's great.
Okay, people, if you're asking questions about Super and Daima, this is not the stream to do that, man. Like, we're talking about classic OG Dragon Ball. I'll probably be doing a Q&A stream later this week. I have a sponsored Q&A stream I'm going to be doing later this week, and you can ask whatever questions you want about Super and Daima then. I just don't want to derail the conversation because these questions might take time to answer, and we have a couple hours to get through this whole volume, and we have like a bunch of chapters. So I'm not trying to not answer it. It's just that we've got a lot to get through here. Kick Dreaming says Bloodsport and Kickboxer. I love you. Those are fantastic movies. Bloodsport actually came out after Toriyama started doing Dragon Ball, but it's based on the same thing. And there is some Bloodsport in the Dragon Ball anime, just not the manga. But yes, those I want everybody in the chat. He makes a great point. Those are great films to watch. If you love Dragon Ball, if you really like Dragon Ball, you got to see Bloodsport. You got to see Kickboxer. There's more. Best of the best. There's a lot of little movies you can watch that are okay. Jordan, besides Drunken Master, what would you say is the most Dragon Ball movie that somebody should watch?
Enter the Dragon.
Okay.
The series is named after Enter the Dragon. Dragon Ball as a title came from Enter the Dragon. So
Toriyama loves Bruce Lee as well. Those are like his two gods, like Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee. He never got to meet Bruce Lee, but he did get to meet Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
And didn't Jackie Chan, did he not voice like Sun Wukong in like something that Toriyama was involved in?
He and Jet Li played characters in a Journey to the West movie.
No, we saw that movie in the server.
That we watched together.
What's that movie called?
The Last Kingdom.
Okay, that's something else. Everybody in the chat right now, if you've got the money, go to Amazon or eBay and look up The Last Kingdom. I think I bought it for like $6. Very, 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 very good movie. Really good film. And it's Journey to the West.
Jet Li is Sun Wukong, so yeah.
Jet Li is Sun Wukong, and Trippy Talk is played by like an American or whatever. It's not a Journey to the West. So he said the Forbidden Kingdom, bro. It is the Forbidden Kingdom.
The Forbidden Kingdom,
yeah, you got it wrong, bro. I own that movie too. Yes, the Forbidden Kingdom. Okay, thank you, Yash. You got corrected, bro. Mr. Journey to the West got corrected on live stream, bro. I'm not deleting this live stream, Jordan. I'm not deleting it.
No, I get those two titles mixed up all the time.
Right, because I think The Last Kingdom is I think that's like a video game or something. That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the Forbidden Kingdom is in the 2000s, I believe it came out, right? Was it the 2000s?
Maybe, yeah. I think it was early 2000s.
Early 2000s, yeah. We saw it in the Discord. I loved it. It's a great movie for people who like Dragon Ball but don't want to like jump into Journey to the West all the way. It's a nice little bridge because it's more like it's not a Journey to the West movie. It's like, what if Journey to the West was real in an alternate dimension type of thing? Because it's like a human. It's like how, remember that Yamcha manga where the kid became Yamcha? It's kind of like that. Like it's like a modern twist on Journey to the West. Jackie Chan and Jet Li. Yes, Jackie Chan and Jet Li together. Let me get this last super chat before we go on here. Xavier says, so all the movies you guys are talking about are way better than Dragon Ball Evolution. Of course, bro. I could take a dump right now and film it for 10 seconds, and that'll be better than Journey to the West, bro. Matthew says, here because I'm too lazy to read by the manga. That doesn't make you look good around me, bro. I'm just being too lazy to read is not a good look. But I do love you for being honest, at least. What I will repeat is, if you don't want to read Journey to the West, are you willing to watch the Forbidden Kingdom? So
it's a great movie.
Yes, you should.
The fight between Jackie Chan and Jet Li is so good.
It is great. All right. Kame Sennin style severe training. So this is where training turns up. Now here's Goku and Krillin doing the crops, which is implied even in the first episode of Super that Goku still remember how to do this. And then here's the resting part. Now, something else that we've talked about, something else going back to what I talked about earlier when it comes to weight training, right? You have to make sure you get plenty of sleep. The big secret, ladies and gentlemen, to gaining muscle is not just lifting weights and doing time under tension and form. It's also get plenty of sleep. You don't grow muscles in the gym. In the gym, you break your muscles apart. The idea is when you go to sleep, you wake up, the muscles come back harder. That's how it works. So make sure you're getting plenty of sleep. If you're staying up 5 days a week or whatever, not getting no sleep, bro, you got to stop that, or else you're not going to get stronger. Got to sleep. So now comes the part where it comes to pushing rocks. Now, what I find funny about this is you've got Goku, who by the end of the series is like universal level powerful, especially if you include what's super added. It's like multiversal powerful. And here the test is, can you push a rock? It seems so insignificant compared to the end, but you don't know about the end unless you go to the beginning. And the reality is, in life, it's a journey, and you're never going to get all the way to the end. You will, but not right away. You got to work your way there, and that's how I feel this is. Do you have any insight on the rock pushing?
I just think it's funny how Goku and Krillin can immediately push it, and Roshi's like, "Oh, well, this is a new level of student here." That's what I like about this scene, is it points out that Roshi is kind of underestimating Goku and Krillin.
Right. And Kick Dreaming is correct. Yeah, I actually worked a high intensity. In 2020, I worked a high intensity workout 6 days a week, and I wound up losing like 3 pounds, gained it right back because my diet was shit and because I didn't sleep enough. It's actually better to do a high intensity workout 2 to 3 times a week, and then you sleep the next day. Or you can work on individual body parts. There's different ways to do it. I'm not going to give you all the full workout thing because every one of your bodies, this is something else I will tell you. Every body literally is different. Some of you guys have insulin resistance. Some of you guys are allergic to certain foods. I'm not going to sit here and like spend all this fucking stream talking about like nutrition and shit, but try different things and see what works best for you. But one thing that's universal among all humans is lifting weights, repetitions and sleep works. That it's just how much do you want to do? So I just wanted to get that out of the way. I got a Windows pop up here. All right. Anyways. All right. I accidentally clicked that. I didn't mean to do it. Okay. So the shark. This is the only shark we ever see in the series, isn't it? And there's one other shark. Is there not one other shark?
I think there's a shark that talks at some point. But this is definitely a Jaws reference.
It is, and that's literally the cover of Jaws. That is the movie poster of Jaws. Toriyama, again, the dude loves movies. I don't think people understand how easy it is for a movie fan to get into Dragon Ball just based on the movie references. I could probably do multiple videos until the end of time going over every Western movie reference, not just the Japanese and Chinese films. Jaws, James Bond, Tron. We've talked about this already here on the stream on Mangalorian. Later on, lots of Star Wars, lots of Star Trek, Alien, Terminator. Like, there are so many American movies that Toriyama went to go see when he was younger that influence his work. And of course, Godzilla, which we're going to talk about later today when we get to the tournament. Okay. I love this scene here of Goku and Krillin being bitten by the bees or stung by the bees, the bee's nest or whatever. I want to say I do not recommend this because in real life, getting stung by a bee does not help you get stronger, yo. In fact, it'll do the opposite. Yash, I think it was a dolphin. I think there was a shark too, though. Okay. Tenkaichi Budokai Begins. All right. So this is sort of the wrap up of the training. It's much faster in the manga than in the anime. Goku finally figured out how to move the rock. There you go, right there. It's a big feat for Goku being so young to be able to do that. Now, this right here, I want to read this out because this is very, very important. And I feel like Toriyama almost forgot about this. This is something I think Toriyama may have actually forgotten about. So it says here, it seems like you haven't noticed yourselves yet, but your eyes, fists, legs, and even your heads have become extremely keen. Fighting is just the application of your abilities. The basics of the Kame-sen style martial arts are encompassing within the training you two have been doing for the past 7 months. So that's the big reveal, that pushing rocks and delivering milk actually helped you.
Right.
And he says it's in order to test your abilities and further your own training. You aren't entering the Tenkaichi Budokai to win. You can't. One strikes to avoid defeat by one's own self. To do that, you must train yourselves on the foundation of what you have learned up until now. On the path of Budo, which is martial arts, one does not strive for victory over an opponent. This is really important shit, yo. This is what
the
the
most
whole,
important thing in the series.
it's one of the most, I say one of, but it might be the most important lesson that Goku learned. And I have no fighting techniques to teach you. We'll just keep doing the same thing we've been doing up until now. With that said, there's only 1 month left. However, in order to finish this off right, you'll be wearing these that's 40. I thought it was 40 kg shells and carrying twice the amount of weight as now. So he's gonna just put the weight up higher.
Okay, so Budo translates to the martial way, and Sun Wukong's master in Journey to the West taught him what's called the way, which I think is very ironic considering our series is called the Mangalorian. So the idea behind Budo is that when you are facing an opponent, you don't fall victim to your ego. And the reason you don't fall victim to your ego is because falling victim to your ego causes bad karma.
AKA Vegeta, the character of Vegeta throughout most of his life.
The entire purpose of this is to express
and Frieza.
The entire purpose of this is to express to you that karma is a thing in Dragon Ball. It exists because karma is the entire reason that Budo as a concept exists, because Budo is just an extension of Buddhism and Taoism's effect on martial arts. That's all. Budo is just Buddhist Taoist martial arts. That's what it is. And so the reason this is so important is because this comes full circle all the way back and later on in Dragon Ball Z when Goku faces Frieza. Goku has to practice Budo through his anger. Your anger flares up your ego. It makes you want to do things for egotistical reasons. Anger makes you want to lash out and get justice for yourself. What makes and Roshi even talks about this in the anime blatantly about how Goku is struggling not to lose himself when he becomes a Super Saiyan, because Goku is a martial artist and Budo practitioner by nature. So this right here is one of the most important things that is stated in the entire series, which is why if you've never read the original Dragon Ball, when you go and when you watch that scene later on Namek where Goku becomes a Super Saiyan, there's an entire area of context there that if you don't really understand what's happening. You have to understand that Goku is a martial artist by nature, and that's why whenever Goku embraces his ego, his identity, the reason that is treated as a good thing is because Goku is a martial artist. That's who his identity is. He is the martial artist, which is why when Goku says, I am the Super Saiyan sent from Earth to destroy you with a pure heart, he's saying, my identity is not bad. My identity is good. My ego is good because I'm a martial artist. It's supposed to be this like ironic play on the fact that the ego is technically kind of considered bad from a martial arts standpoint until you use it correctly in martial arts, and then it becomes good.
And this is a lesson that Gohan learned the hard way twice.
That's right. So this is, I can't stress enough just how important these few panels are to the entirety of Dragon Ball. It's like insanely important, which is why, again, and we stress this a lot on this stream, always make sure you read the original Dragon Ball, because it's integral to the story. There is so much context that you don't get otherwise.
No, you don't. And I've said it before, it's almost infuriating to me when I see people say, oh, you can skip it, it's boring, which it's not boring and you can't skip it. It's very like it's like if somebody were to get into Star Wars and say, yeah, skip all the old movies and start with the sequel trilogy. And that's not a good comparison because I think Dragon Ball Z is much better than the sequel trilogy, but you shouldn't. It's more like skip Star Wars and start with Empire. If you start with Empire, you can kind of figure out what's going on because of the opening crawl and everything, but you're not going to have full context for what the characters have been through. You're just not. Like, you have to watch the original 1977 Star Wars A New Hope. So, Jordan's right. These are super important panels, and I made a note to make sure we talk about them here because it kind of sets the tone for the rest of the series. It really does.
Yeah, if Goku did not go into the tournament with this mindset, he would have fell victim to his ego and felt as though he was the superior life form on planet Earth. And that's why this is so important, because this is essentially Roshi preventing Goku from thinking that he is the top of the food chain on planet Earth, because that could have a significant impact on his personality.
Which is what he did by entering the tournament.
Right. He's trying to make sure that when Goku goes in the tournament, he doesn't get the idea that he is the strongest on Earth, because that can completely corrupt him and his training. So.
And at this point, he legitimately wasn't the strongest on Earth, like at all. Like, he was, if you actually think about, like, at this point, who was alive, Goku might not even be in the top 5 because Roshi's stronger than him. Tenshin Han was around. He's probably stronger than him. Tao Pai Pai is probably stronger than him. In fact, I would say most of Baba's people, even though it's more supernatural, they're probably all stronger than him. And they haven't been introduced yet, but I mean, they exist. Same thing with Crane Hermit. He's also stronger than him. So Goku wasn't even close to the top. But to me, that makes the story more interesting. That's why I like how in Z, Toriyama had to bring in enemies from outside of Earth. That's why he even introduced the aliens, because when Goku beat Piccolo in 23rd tournament, that's it. All of his goals on Earth were accomplished. All of a sudden, where do we go? How does the story continue? Space. And then the next 2 arcs are all about going into space. So I'm glad you pointed that out. Also, Yash talked about turtle breathing. Do you want to go into that, or did you already discuss that last time?
I think I talked about that in a previous stream.
In volume 2, I think, right? It sounds familiar. Yeah. So here we have Krillin and Goku being able to jump much higher than they ever have before, because their bodies are now accustomed to this heavy weight. This would be where Goku would get the idea for gravity training, which he experienced on Kaio's planet and on the way to Namek. And of course, Vegeta would stay with gravity training for the rest of his life, pretty much. This is kind of where it all started. It's the concept of being weighted down, resistance training, which is what this is, and being able to get faster as a result of it. The truth is, in real life, when you start throwing punches, you will get faster. It's just how it is.
Yeah.
You know? I like it, though. Goku was way stronger than Krillin. Yeah, I don't know about way stronger, but he was. Or he's a bit stronger. He's a bit stronger. Yeah, he was a bit stronger. They're relatively close around this time, but he was a bit stronger. So at this point now, they're about to head out to the tournament grounds on Papaya Island. And I think it was Papaya Island at this point. And I love Goku and Krillin wearing their suits and the hats, bro. Their city clothing. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome right there. Here's Master Roshi copying a feel on the lady on the plane. This is one of the only times he doesn't pay for it. I will say this is the only time he does not pay for it. She should have smacked him, which he may have done in the anime. Okay. We have to talk about this panel right here. Here's why. Excuse me. I had a loogie I had to get out. So nasty, but I had to do it. The guy on the left here, I talked about this guy in a video way back in 2015. This guy right here on the left is an actual real person that Toriyama chose to put into his manga. This guy's name is Anquan Budiyasa. He was the tour guide for Toriyama when he went to visit China with his wife during his break between Dragon Ball and Slump, which was the summer of '84.
He essentially went on the journey to the West, which is so cool. But yeah.
Yeah, this is the tour guide. And Toriyama was so pleased with how the guy handled himself and how he toured with him and his wife that he somebody said Booty Yasa. Yeah, and it's not spelled like that, but that's his name, Booty Yasa. That Toriyama put him into the manga. And I always thought that was a cool reference
Yeah,
because
and the designs for the tournament and everything are based
we're
on
gonna
things that yeah.
well we're gonna get to some of that here in a minute. But the tournament ground. So this is it, chapter 33, the power of training. So all of this architecture is either Chinese or Indian inspired. So the tournament grounds are originally inspired by something called uh, Anhatatu in India, right? That's where the tournament with the elevated like ring and everything, all of that came from India originally. Now, the actual platform is called a leital. I took notes on this, so I remembered. And so all of this architecture and shit is based on Chinese, which is based on India. And again, that goes once again to Journey to the West because Journey to the West is the journey to India. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of sort of cross-pollination between Chinese and Indian culture that people might not remember, but it's true. So then we have Goku getting his this is a very important part too. This is the first time. This is the first time in history to see where we see
Turtle Hermit Gi, yeah.
the turtle hermit gi. Goku would wear a version of this for the rest of the series all the way into like the modern.
I love this design too. And Toriyama did specify that the reason he went with those colors is to replicate Buddhist monks too. So I think that's really cool.
And it's
But
the same color of the Dragon Balls too.
yeah, so yeah, it's just overall it's just an amazing design. It's great.
And it's literally, this is the iconic Goku look. Somebody in the chat said it would be pretty cool to see a Dragon Ball tournament stage in real life. Well, that's where it's based on. These tournaments happened in real life. Like many years ago, centuries ago even, martial artists would face each other in these tournaments. This is all like a very realistic thing that happened.
That's why when people say that Toriyama didn't think this stuff through, I just want to like roll my eyes because it's like, whoa, the amount of detail that went into just this is absolutely insane. You know, the amount of thought and detail and care and consideration is just, it's wild.
Not just that, but I do want to address something that I wanted to address it earlier, but I think now's the time. The whole concept of Dragon Ball doing tournaments, this whole thing was Torishima's idea. So Toriyama talked about this in a interview with one of the Daizenshus. I think it was Daizenshuu too. He said that this guy said India is already overrated. I don't understand how a country can be overrated. I've never heard that before.
Yeah,
unless America's overrated, but maybe underrated in some ways. I don't know what he means by that, but what I was trying to say was, so Dragon Ball was not a hit from the get-go. It wasn't. It was fine. Like it wasn't like trashed on, but it wasn't like this big, huge like hit that would become like a hit anime and spawn hundreds of games.
He wanted to keep doing Journey to the West, and then Torishima was like, "It's not working."
Torishima was the one that said, "You need to do tournaments with these characters. You've already got the martial arts aspect in. You should do a tournament." Now, the concept of a tournament with the main characters is not something Toriyama did not know about, because in Dr. Slump, there were a couple of chapters that were later made into episodes of the Penguin Village tournaments, and they weren't martial arts tournaments. They were racing, or they were hide and seek. There were all these different competitions with the main characters. Toriyama just took that and made it martial arts for Dragon Ball. So the reality is that Torishima, I know that Toriyama's the creator, but I think Torishima needs to get a lot of respect from fans, because I don't think we would have the martial arts Dragon Ball if it wasn't for Torishima.
Yeah, you're right. And all of Toriyama's editors are extremely important to his career. They should all get a lot of credit.
Yu Kondo, who was his second editor, was one of the ones that was kind of around him when the alien stuff started to kick in. So the guy in the chat said very overrated in terms of history and what people think are their contributions to humanity. That's a very ignorant comment you made, because you saying that a country is overrated in terms of history, like, a lot of people don't feel that way. Like, you can't say that history is overrated when it's not your country. Like, that's kind of an ignorant statement you just made. No
Even
offense.
even if it was your country, there are people who do entire college level studies on Indian culture. So this idea that it's like, not complicated and nuanced and rich and something worth studying is just nonsense.
It's ignorant. It's ignorant. Not to mention that there's a lot of history in India that I know about, and there's a lot that I don't know about. Like, India's been important in the world going back to the ancient world, like that whole region. So
Yeah,
I don't know what you're talking about, bro, but that's very ignorant. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to do anything crazy and kick him out of here or anything like that, but it's you should just think about it a little bit, bro. Like,
no,
especially
an eye roll, I think, is enough.
It's an eye roll. Yeah. The reality is the Dragon Ball was inspired by Chinese mythology, and Chinese mythology was inspired by Indian. End of story. You can sit there and cry about it all you want to. These are facts. That's like saying, oh, well, Star Wars didn't help inspire Toriyama. Yes, it did. Like, you can sit there and say whatever you want to say. Like, when people say shit like Bruce Falconer's the reason that Dragon Ball Z is famous in America, that's an ignorant, incorrect statement. I can prove that. So, just enough, bro. History all over the world is interesting to those who deem it interesting. If you don't, that's on you. I mean, now he's saying that Americans are ignorant when you're the one that said that Indian history. All right, I'm moving on, bro. You're bro. Think a little bit before you talk, please. You're making yourself look dumb, not me. I'm not the one looking like an idiot here. So moving on, right? Here we have the early tournament people, a lot of kind of no-name martial artists, and here is where they go through the preliminary rounds. Now, the preliminary rounds is something that a lot of tournaments did to kind of weed out the wannabes. Basically, and they don't do this anymore, but I know even the Ultimate Fighter did stuff like this. So the idea is you have to earn your way in. So if you're just a regular guy who's never fought before, you're going to get creamed here, even by the weakest martial artist. And that's what this whole thing is for. And it's something the tournament did frequently. Now, I can vouch for this person right here. This is where I go into my history. So this giant wrestler guy right here, this is a combination of 3 different wrestlers throughout history. Andre the Giant, Volkan, and Karl Gotch. Now, some of you might say, what about the Iron Sheik? This is before the Iron Sheik. This is way before the Iron Sheik. That mustache and the bald head, that is Iron Sheik. Volkan and Karl Gotch had that look first. Without question, Toriyama has also watched wrestling. He claims to deny he's not a fan of wrestling, and yet time and time again, no, it's not Hulk Hogan. I just said it was before Iron Sheik, and Iron Sheik was before Hulk Hogan. Come on, man. Don't correct me on wrestling, bro. Ask Jordan. Correcting me on wrestling is worse than correcting me on
Dragon Ball. I wouldn't even attempt it.
Don't. You're just going to look stupid. These guys were famous in Japan, and no question Toriyama saw them on TV. I'm not saying Toriyama was a hardcore wrestling fan, but he definitely watched it when he was younger. There's a stupid question right there. Where's chapter 104? Maybe you should watch the video that I put out on Saturday, and then you'll get your answer. Maybe you should. Maybe you should watch the other videos I've done about what's going on in Dragon Ball. I'm not answering any stories, anything about modern Dragon Ball in this stream. If you're here to ask about it, bro, you're not getting it. That's not what we're talking about here. I have videos on the channel. If you're too lazy to go to Geekdom 101 and look at the videos, bro, I don't know what to tell you. That's how I make my money, bro. Go watch the videos and help me make my money. Since you're asking me the question, go watch the videos. So Goku owns this fucking guy, bro. I mean, Volcan or whatever ain't shit. Knocks him on his ass. Everyone's all shocked because Goku's a kid. And in this universe, they're not used to
superhuman kids. Right.
No, they're not. And people in the chat are talking about how India invented chess. Is that true? I think that is true, right?
Probably.
India invented a lot of board games.
I know chess is awesome. I haven't looked into the history of it, but I know it's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, and also India, like Indian culture has permeated everywhere. No, this is not okay. He's saying there's a Hulk Hogan reference, dude. We're not talking about Hulk Hogan right now. Like I already named the wrestlers. You don't have to. You're asking about a reference that doesn't come into like way later,
right?
Like, stay on topic, bro. This is volume 3.
So this is Krillin essentially facing like people that he used to go to school with.
Yes, this is the orange monk.
Yeah, he's just absolutely smoking them.
Yeah, because these monks think that Krillin's a punk, but they don't know that Krillin has been training with Roshi. So yeah, we're gonna see Krillin. You know, at first he's intimidated, but he fucking, and let me tell you, him kicking this guy in the gut is so fucking satisfactory. The anime, I think, added a scene where it's like a flashback of them bullying him. So the anime did add some filler that I think is good, right? I love it. I think it's great that he shows how much he surpassed them. So next chapter, it says unrivaled under the heavens. Now, I need to explain this whole under the heavens thing. So in the dub, the Tenkaichi Budokai translates to the World Martial Arts Tournament. And that is a usable translation, but that's not what Tenkaichi Budokai means. Tenkaichi Budokai literally translates to the greatest under the heavens tournament. Tenkaichi Budokai, greatest under the heavens tournament. 10 is heaven. I'm not going to break down the etymology, but it is, trust me. So whenever you see like so-and-so under the heavens, it basically means the tournament. Now, I love this because Toriyama plays with this later on. When Goku climbs the Nioibo to go meet God above the heavens, he is introduced to a whole new level of training from Kami and Mr. Popo. And basically the idea is that when Goku trains above the heavens, which he would later on do in Z and Super with gods who are way above the heavens, he has an edge over the rest of the earth, which is why Goku is so strong at the end of the series, at the end of Dragon Ball, like the 23rd tournament. That's why. So, anyways. More guys getting rocked here. This is the fake Bruce Lee guy. So, I think some people may misconstrue this as it being like Toriyama shitting on Bruce Lee, like what Tarantino did.
It's a gag. It's a gag.
It's a gag, yeah. The guy looks exactly like Bruce Lee because Toriyama loves him. But in his universe, he's saying even Bruce Lee can't beat my guys. I don't think he's shitting on Bruce Lee, but it's sort of to show people like, damn, even Bruce Lee gets beat. But he does get to drop this elbow right here on Krillin. I mean, he's not a punk. But yeah. Krillin, he scares him so much that the guy straight up just runs, which is something Bruce Lee would probably never do. So,
right.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yes, our almighty Jiggy is writing about in the chat, like the Tenkaichi.
So we got a super chat.
Yes, I'm going to read it. Do you think Mr. Satan could be any of the fighters in the 21st tournament and 22nd tournaments? Or could he beat any of the fighters? He wrote B, but I think he means beat. Or are they still above him? I don't know. These guys, the preliminary guys, probably. I don't see him beating Goku even back then. I just don't.
Me either. No,
he doesn't know ki. He doesn't know anything.
He's not pulling off any of the feats that Krillin and Goku pulled off under Roshi's training. You know, like he's not going to push that giant boulder. He's not going to run as fast as Goku and Krillin. So,
for a human, he could be the strongest regular human that doesn't use ki. But even Videl is stronger than him. And that's stated in, I mean, that's not stated, but it's shown in the series. Videl gets to be a lot stronger than him. She kicks the Popovich's head and twisted it all the way back, bro, on some fucking exorcist shit. I don't think Mr. Satan could do that. So the whole thing about Mr. Satan is he says he's the strongest in the world, but he's not. So that tells me that
because he can't use chi. That's why
he never learned.
Yeah, that's right. They even play on this in like the video games and stuff where he has like the jetpack and he's like throwing bombs instead of using ki blasts and all that good stuff.
Which is from Dragon Ball when he tries to kill Majin Buu with a bomb, when he puts the video game thing and, oh, lay down right here. I'll take a picture of us, you know, like I beat you. Yeah. I love it, but no, I don't think Satan could probably beat the prelim guys here, but not like anybody who made it to the tournament, including like Ranfan or none of those people. We're going to get there. So this character right here, this is another character that looks oddly familiar. I do not know the reference. I would have to check Derek's book, but there's definitely a reference here.
Yeah, he's a kung fu star. Like yes, he's a star in kung fu films. I can't remember.
I think he usually plays villains too. I think.
Yeah,
I think he usually plays villains. I can't remember his name either. Was the notion that Tao Pai Pai killed Mr. Satan's father true or a rumor? He killed his master, not his father. His master. We don't know. We don't know anything about Satan's father. I don't think it ever says anything about it. So, moving on here, he gets. I like how Goku just throws him out. Like Goku literally grabs him and throws him out. Like,
yeah, I know we're trying not to talk about modern Dragon Ball, but they actually reference this later in the Universe 6 versus Universe 7 tournament. Goku throws Bottomo out of the stage just like this. Exactly the same, actually.
That's right. I have not watched that arc in like 3 years, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll watch this shit every day. But you're right. Somebody said, I remember when people would spam Present Bomb in the Tenkaichi games. Yeah, bro. I hope the new game doesn't have any cheap shit like that, but it probably will. You know it will. So again, it's just a big montage of these guys smashing the prelim dudes. This big bear dude gets eliminated, kind of a dick. Yamcha's there, so Yamcha returns.
Awesome. Yeah.
Now,
I remember reading this. I was like, yeah, Yamcha's there. So cool.
Yeah. It's a great like return to form because Yamcha coming back. I mean, he is a martial artist, but he didn't train with Roshi and them, which would of course end up being an issue, but he would train with Roshi. This is the tournament that would lead to Yamcha being so inspired that he would end up joining the Turtle School for the next tournament. And I like that because that means there's consequences to this with all the characters. So Goku and Kuririn each fought their way through the preliminaries and are now finally able to ascend to the Tenkaichi Budokai. Yamcha has also come to join the 8 total contestants. So the 8 finalists are here, and this is a lot of like pre-tournament jabber because we still have not. I don't believe
reunion. It's the reunion of the characters. That's the reason it's a big deal.
Because Bulma's there. Yeah. But what I was gonna say was, Oolong's there. That's a nice moment, but it also has not established yet that Jackie Chun is Master Roshi. I actually don't think to this day Goku has figured that out yet. I don't think it was ever revealed to him. I don't recall it ever being revealed.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. So here we have some of the other characters.
Foreshadowing for like the fights.
Giran, Jackie Chun is there. Nam, Ranfan, and of course Bacterian. The reality is that most of the first round participants were kind of joke characters anyways. Toriyama's still doing the comedy stuff. It wouldn't be until the semifinals and the finals that we'd actually get truly competitive fights. Really the final. That would change, though, with the 22nd tournament because there was a lot of competitive fights in that tournament. I like this tournament, but the 22nd and 23rd tournaments were way more balanced. This tournament just kind of feels like it's still going on that gag style, which I appreciate, but I think the other tournaments later on were way better written, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is a great introduction to the Tenkaichi Budokai, but my favorite's the last one. But
Unlawful, me too. Unlawful says that in the end of Z DLC in Kakarot, end of Z Goku is still confused about Jackie's identity. So there you go. He never found out. He was never told. That's kind of wild.
yeah, Jackie Chun is a ridiculously cool concept because it shows you that not only is Roshi like adhering to his teachings in the sense that he's not trying to take any credit as like the greatest martial artist ever. He's literally wearing a disguise to not only subvert his students' expectations, but the crowd. He doesn't want the crowd being like, "Oh, Roshi's so amazing." So he gives all the credit to Jackie Chun, which I think is an awesome thing because it's like him taming the ego through using a different character as an avenue for all that fame, you know. But I just think Jackie Chun overall is just an amazing concept. I just think he's a cool character.
Yeah, and something else too is, and I think he's a cool character too. I remember, I forgot when it was, and I will admit this is my dick side coming out. I remember somebody on Twitter once, I brought up Jackie Chun, and I can tell this person's never seen Dragon Ball, and they go, they're a Z guy. They're like, Jackie Chun? Wait, is that supposed to be a reference to Jackie Chan? And I'm like, and I told them, I go, yeah, did you also know 2 + 2 was 4? Have you learned that? Like, and that's my dick side coming out because, like, the first time in my life I ever heard the name Jackie Chun, I immediately associated with Jackie Chan. I don't have to ask some internet guy if this is true. It's not that hard to figure out. But I remember I was a dick to the guy, and do I regret it? Honestly, no, but I kind of do because I've noticed that the way I am is I'm very often a dick to people who ask dumb questions who are that dumb. And I shouldn't be like that, but it's just I have a very low tolerance for stupidity. And unfortunately, because I chose to do this for a living, I'm surrounded by it more often than not. But I've tried to work on not being like that, and I have improved. But it's just hard when somebody has to ask if Jackie Chun is a reference to Jack. Who else would it be a reference to?
Yeah.
That's like saying, oh, is Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee a reference to Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's next, bro? The sun's going to come out tomorrow? Like, it just seems so obvious. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. So moving on here, they set up the brackets, right, of who's going to fight who. Toriyama's very good at booking tournaments. He's really, really good at it. He's better than AEW at it, I'll tell you that much. And he puts the fighters separately so that we don't see like Goku and Krillin in round 1 or Yamcha. He spreads them out. He spreads the known characters. So all of the known characters are in one bracket and the unknown characters are kind of separate. Now, they do provide some backstory to some of these characters. Not anything that's too interesting. The anime kind of goes into a lot more detail. And we're going to go into this as we go through the tournament, like more about these characters. They would not be seen again till the Piccolo arc, because in the Piccolo arc is when Tambourine is going around killing them, which is what we're covering right now on Twitch. If you go to my Twitch every Saturday, not this Saturday, but we'll be back on June 1st, we are covering the anime, watching it and talking about it. And yes, Davion Johnson, you get it, bro. You get it. But anyways, yeah, we talk about what's going on right now with this arc. I will say, and I won't even bullshit you, I do think the anime version of the Piccolo arc is way better than the manga version, and we'll go through it when we get there. The anime adds so much cool shit that it just blows it out of the water. Same thing with the Saiyan. Cool stuff. Yeah, they did a Toei back then. See, we can shit on Toei now because they're fucking morons. Toei in the 80s, though, they were on point.
Yeah.
They were on point, yo. So we're going to begin the Tenkaichi Budokai. I love this panel right here because it's literally a spread of all the first round fights. So Toriyama's, it's kind of like a versus screen for a wrestling show or a UFC show. or a boxing show. It's the same thing. Ranfan versus Nam, 2 new characters. Kudadin versus Bacterian. Yamcha and Jackie Chun. We know these characters, but Jackie's not known to them. And then Goku and Gilan, or Giran, however you want to pronounce it. And we're going to move on to battle number 1, Kudadin and Bacterian. Now, this is something a lot of Dragon Ball fans know about, even if they've never seen Dragon Ball. This whole, like, you know, Bacterian smelling bad and all that. Now, I will say, I love how Toriyama drew this, because it's like the main fight, and then under we have the rest of the characters. That is such fun paneling. It only works for this, but it works well.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I love it. So, again, like with these first round fights, they're kind of joke fights. Krillin here against a Bacterian, and the issue is that Bacterian's nasty ass smell. I once knew a guy who was the real life Bacterian, bro. In fact, I knew a few guys like this, bro. If you go to anime conventions, you'll see a lot of Bacterians. Long hair, long beards, don't bathe. They're all over the anime con circuit, bro. So Toriyama was a prophet when he created this character, because his fans, many of them, would end up being just like this, bro. Oh, well, Goku inspired me to hit the gym. Vegeta inspired me to be a better person. Bacteria inspired me not to bathe. They'll never say that, but it's true. And so Krillin cannot handle the smell. But of course, the big joke is when we find out, when Goku reminds Krillin that he does not have a nose. And we're going to get there. Bacterian spitting up a loogie. This is like an early version of the mouth blast. You know what I'm saying? Except it's probably more gross and has more germs. Like, it's so disgusting, but again, it's more of that humor. So what the finish of the fight, Krillin farts in Bacterian's face, and he can't handle the smell, and he's eliminated. So what are your thoughts on this fight overall? What can be said?
I mean, it really just kind of shows you where Toriyama's head was at the time. Like you said, he's still at heart a gag mangaka, and he's thinking about that in this way. He was like, Krillin doesn't have a nose. You know, let me put him against somebody that stinks to give him an advantage, and create a bunch of gags. I mean, this is really just formatted to complement the way Toriyama likes to tell stories. But it's great. I mean, it's iconic. I love it.
Yeah, and it's, again, like, these early fights are kind of meant to be more goofy. They're not taken as seriously as the later tournaments would be. But I think Toriyama, when he was conceptualizing this, I do think that with this tournament, people say Toriyama never planned anything, and that's also wrong. He is a discovery writer. He did plan things, but he didn't meticulously plan the story chapter by chapter. But I think
he would change things like that.
Right, but I think with this tournament, I think he did have an idea of how he was going to come up with the finishes and where he was going to go with it.
People have a misconception of what a discovery writer is. A discovery writer can plan things, but they also change things. Like, so you can have an idea of what you want to do in your head as a discovery writer, but when you get from point A to point B, if you think something else is going to fit better for the story, you have the wiggle room to just change it and do whatever you want. So that's what Toriyama did. Like, he had an idea of what he wanted, very obviously, but he would take the story. He wanted the story to be fresh even to him. Like, he didn't want to know what happened.
Yeah, not just that, but it also kind of reminds me of what they do in pro wrestling. In pro wrestling, they have a plan, but if there's an injury, then they have to pivot. They have to shift directions. Or if somebody gets really popular, they will shift directions. It's the same thing in Dragon Ball. Like, if you remember, when Toriyama has said this, he originally did not want to keep bringing Vegeta back. But Vegeta got popular, and he said, okay, well, I'll bring him back because I can kind of work with the character a bit more. And
he wanted to keep doing Journey to the West, and then Torishima was like, no. So stuff like that just happens,
Right. And this, I think there's a big, like, misnomer. I think a lot of people think that Toriyama hates Vegeta, and I think there was a time when he did, but that time is long past. If
Yeah.
Toriyama really hated Vegeta, he wouldn't have beat the fuck out of Frieza in Resurrection F, and that was something Toriyama wrote into the script. So I think we're way past that point. I think Toriyama, modern Toriyama, before he passed away, has no issue with Vegeta. I think back in the day he did, even though he did give Vegeta one of the best. He's got one of the best character arcs of anybody.
He said Vegeta grew on him. As a matter of fact, he even said in an interview that he wanted to do a movie about Vegeta. But
he wanted to do a movie about Vegeta. We never really got that. We got Resurrection F, which is like Vegeta gets gets to beat up on Frieza, but it wasn't about him. It was about Frieza.
Yeah.
So, next fight, battle number 2, chapter 37, Yamcha versus Jackie Chun. Now, this is the beginning of the ongoing trope where Mandalore the Ultimate, not in the Saiyan saga. When Vegeta died on Namek, Toriyama didn't want to bring him back at that point, I believe, if I remember correctly, but then he thought about it and decided to bring him back. So, there you go. But what I was going to say is this is going to begin that long tradition of Yamcha being the jobber to the stars. He's always the guy that loses in the first round to whoever's going to either be the champion or somebody higher up. Twice he loses to whoever is the champion. And I think Toriyama at this point was using Yamcha specifically to sort of tell people just how strong Roshi was, because we've seen Roshi in a training capacity, but we've never seen him actually fight for real. And this tournament, he actually fights for real.
Yeah.
And I like that.
He continues to do this as the story progresses. Any character that is weaker from the previous story arc, the previous section of the story, he uses them as a measuring stick to show you, hey, these new guys are way beyond all the old guys. I mean, he literally throws Krillin and Yamcha and Tien at Vegeta and Nappa in the Saiyan saga. I mean, like, he just does that all the time. Like,
Yash is correct in the chat. Yes, and so here we have Yamcha, somebody who did give Goku a challenge. A couple volumes ago, a few chapters ago, he gave Goku a challenge, but here he's going against the Grand Master. And Roshi's pretty much just toying with him. I mean, here we see Yamcha going in, trying to strike Roshi, Jackie Chun, not connecting. He's not going to. Meanwhile, like, Goku's marking out over the incredible speed that the master shows. So Yamcha busts out the Roga Fufu Ken, which is the Wolfgang Gale fist technique. And this surprises the master because, like, wait a minute, what is this speed? But it's not enough to hit Roshi. And remember, he can connect with that move. It's a powerful move, especially in fighters. But Roshi he's too strong, bro. Look at this.
This is the most blatant use of the old man master martial artist facing the young, green, hot-blooded martial artist.
The Yoda concept, right?
Like, this is such a cool, like, it's the most blatant version of that, and I love it.
And again, I cannot even tell you how many kung fu movies have the old master being the biggest badass of the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How many movies have done this? Even like Karate Kid 2 showed how strong freaking his master was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pat Morita, but like Miyagi. But it's a trope that's existed for decades in Chinese cinema. He's a badass and he's also a pervert. That's how it works. So he whacks Yamcha with one chop and Yamcha gets eliminated. Now, people can make the jokes all they want, but it makes sense as to why this happened. At the same time, you got a guy who's almost 300 years old, very, very powerful martial artist against Yamcha, just a bandit who knows a little bit of combat. It's going to be an easy win.
Yeah, this makes Yamcha want to practice martial arts. So it's a very important part of his character.
The Ronin Rabbit says in the chat, Kishimoto did the same thing in Naruto. He had Naruto fart in Kiba's face to win a match. So what you're telling me is that Naruto copied everything from Dragon Ball? Because I've seen 2 mentions of Naruto today in the chat, maybe 3, and they've all been.
A lot.
I know they did. I know they did, bro. That's why whenever somebody tries to tell me that One Piece or Naruto is better, I show them what Kishimoto and Oda said when Toriyama died, and I said, who's their god? Who is their god, bro? If you think One Piece is better, great. I have nothing against One Piece or Naruto, but who is the man who they worship?
Yep.
This guy, bro. It's this guy. And clearly we found out how much the world loves this man after he died, because as much as I've studied Toriyama, I was not ready for the amount of love that he got when he died from the whole world. It was bigger than Stan Lee, and I was surprised about that. You know?
Yeah.
It's crazy. So the next fight is Nam versus Ranfan. At this point, this is just pure comedy. It's just, and I love how down here, if you take a look at the lower, at the bottom, he's crossed out Yamcha and Bacterian. So Toriyama creates a little checklist, Yeah. And I love that, because instead of you doing it yourself, he's telling you with every chapter, okay, this guy's gone, this guy's gone. I like that.
Yeah.
I like
Great.
That. Yeah. John Meyer says Naruto and One Piece wouldn't exist without Dragon Ball. A lot of things wouldn't exist without Dragon Ball. That is correct. Yes. And I'm not even saying that Naruto and One Piece are bad. I'm just saying Toriyama did it first.
Here's Roshi flexing his ability to read minds. We rarely get to see this.
Yeah, and Goku does it too once, and we never see it again.
Yeah.
It's like that's something Toriyama forgot. That is
it's a Buddhist thing where you can like read people's minds or whatever. I think he just uses it whenever he feels like it. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh yeah, like that power exists. We can use that.
Yeah, but it would be useful to be used.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. For example, when Trunks came back from the future and told Goku about the future, why didn't Goku just put his hand on his head and read everything like he did to Krillin on Namek? That's one example right there. That's one example right there. He would have known everything. So, but I want to talk a little bit about this character. Now, clearly Nam is based on an Indian, Pakistani, like clearly that's what he's based on.
Yeah.
The Journey to the West. Is there any character in Journey to the West that you think is directly inspiring Nam, or not really?
I think that his technique that he uses against Goku, move? Yeah, that is inspired by the Buddha palm technique that Buddha uses on Sun Wukong famously. But his design, I'm pretty sure, is from it might be an Indiana Jones film. I know that this character design in particular was in a Hollywood film.
Temple of Doom.
Yeah, that's right.
I think so 80.
So in terms of his appearance, it's from those films, but as a martial artist and as a concept, obviously he is mildly inspired from Journey to the West in the sense that he has the Buddha palm technique. So
yes, yeah, it's all over the place. But the whole thing is he respects Nam. Like the whole thing here is he's trying to get the audience, Toriyama is, by using Roshi as like the mind reader to get us to understand that this guy's a serious martial artist. Like he could actually be a challenge for Goku because Toriyama knows where he's going with him next. And here we have the backstory, and I love this. This is more expounded upon in the anime. The backstory of Nam is that he comes from a village that has no water. And he's at the tournament to get water to feed his village. So he's got a real sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? He's got like a real, I guess, like what's the word I'm looking for, bro? Like his backstory is noble. He's got a noble reason to be in the tournament. It's not about being stronger. It's not about testing himself. He needs the money to help out his village. He's not being greedy. He wants to help out his village. So Jackie Chun reads this, and this is going to tie into something later on, showing how good of a person Roshi is. For all the fucking perversion that Roshi encompasses, he's kind of a good guy when all is said and done. He's just horny. And so is Nam, and that becomes a thing. So,
yeah, pure Buddhist martial artists tend to have an issue with this because they don't ever have any contact with women. Like, Nam is a great example of that in this fight. Like, they're trying to maintain their purity. So, they're almost like a kid in the sense that they freak out over women,
Yeah, some of you guys wrote motivation and gravitas. I guess that's all fair words to use. Now, I will say this is the first fight in this tournament that actually feels like a fight for the first part of it. It's goofy, but if you look at these panels right here, bro, these panels are fucking awesome. Like,
yeah.
the just incredible stuff here. I noticed Toriyama uses the text to break the panels more than the actual characters. American comics oftentimes have the characters leaving the panels. Toriyama tends to use the text more, but it does give it that like pow, like bam,
Yeah,
like impact.
You can feel that. You can see the impact. Like, it's
right.
great.
And she's got the advantage on Nam. He's actually getting smashed here. The problem is that Nam does not want to hit a woman, as you can see right here. And she starts doing the crybaby thing to sucker him. Basically, she suckers him and is able to hit him. Is Toriyama trying to tell us that women cry and they fake cry to get us to feel bad for them? Because I have had women do this to me in the past. It's happened a couple times. Not every woman, but it's happened. Yeah, other women do too, but not all of them.
I kind of wonder about her backstory. Like, she's obviously like trained somewhat. I'm kind of wondering if she has like some sort of a military background based on the way she's like dressed and stuff. I don't know.
What do you think about her having orange hair in the manga and purple hair in the anime? I don't think it's that big of a deal. I kind of like the orange hair more, even though I prefer the anime colors.
I actually prefer the anime colors, but I was interested when I saw that they had the red hair design for sure.
You know what, bro? John Myers says she's pulling the victim card. You know what? This panel right here of Nam and Ranfan is literally Twitter. Twitter swings at me first. I swing back. Oh my God, you're a big account. Why are you being mean to me? Why? I don't do it anymore, but he nailed it, bro. You get what, like, the victim card is used on Twitter a lot, but you get what I'm saying. Like, they swing up at a big account. We swing back. Oh no, you're being mean. Even though you fucking tried me first, bro. But remember, here's the unfortunate truth. If you're a big name in any internet community, you're not allowed to punch down, even if somebody punches up at you. I never punch down unless somebody punches up first. But nowadays, I never punch down because it ain't worth my time. But John Myers kind of nailed it, bro.
Yeah, he did.
So, and then here's the part where she realizes that Nam is stronger than her. And I'm not going to talk about men being stronger than women or any of that stuff, because that's not really the point of this. And it's going to raise some, like, I've seen some people mention that. I don't think that's necessarily the case here, because we have 18 later on who's a fucking badass. I think it's that Nam is an actual martial artist and she just knows how to fight a little bit.
I mean, Toriyama is very clearly playing on tropes and stereotypes.
Right.
But tropes and stereotypes are an extension of comedy. So, despite it's not that he himself adheres to these values or feels this way about women any more than any other comedian feels, that their jokes are an extension of their beliefs on things. I think people have a hard time distinguishing trying to be funny and doing gags from somebody's personal beliefs, on the internet.
Right. Yeah, I don't think Toriyama himself is saying anything about women here, but I think it's more so their backstory. Like, she's just she's not a martial artist. She's clearly not like trained like everybody else is, right? Clearly. Yeah. Let me get this super chat from Xavier. He says, "Would Jackie Chun have lost Would Jackie Chun have lost of thrown the fight again? Ranfan." You wrote this really strange,
Becky
bro.
can have lost or thrown the fight again.
Have lost
Ranfan
or
for her
thrown the
panties.
fight
Oh,
again,
that
Ranfan,
if
for
she
her
offered,
panties.
yeah, if she offered him her panties, would he lose? And no,
I don't think it would have worked here in this
No.
tournament setting. I think if it was anywhere else, it would work. I don't think it would have worked here in this tournament setting.
Roshi is so dedicated to making sure Goku and Krillin do not win this tournament that I don't even think he would give in to that. Like he's way more dedicated to, like, this is like the noble side of Roshi coming out. Like you get to see much more who Roshi is as a martial artist than you do like all the gags that you saw whenever he was training with Krillin and Goku. So no, I don't think he would do that personally.
Right. And but I think she would think that. And right here you see her trying it. Like she's undressing for Nam. Now something else we have to talk about too. This is actually worth talking about. People like Nam, bro, who dedicate themselves to the martial arts, a lot of these guys, especially the monks, they're supposed to be abstinence. You are not supposed to have sex. You're not supposed to masturbate, because when you have sex and you masturbate, it's two problems. Number one, you lose testosterone. And number two, you're showing that you lack discipline. She's trying to play on that, but Nam is so mentally strong, he doesn't fall for it, even though it's tempting. Like right here, it's look at his face right here. Like, it's very, very tempting. She thinks she got him. She thinks she suckered him. But see, that's it. If I close my eyes, I won't have to look at her body. Whatever it takes, bro. You and I have a mutual friend who is very much like Nam when it comes to this type of shit, including the whole closing his eyes thing. We'll leave it at that. So
yeah,
we'll leave it at that. But because of him closing his eyes, he's able to dodge and win. Now, why did Toriyama do this? Here's why. This is the very first example of fighting and sensing ki as opposed to using your eyes. We see more of this. We see it with Goku versus Frieza. We see it with Vegito versus Majin Buu. If you don't know how to sense ki, you're not going to get the W on somebody who does know how to sense ki. So even him with his eyes closed is able to win because he can sense her movements. I love it. This is all foundational. This is all laying the groundwork for every future Dragon Ball fight.
Yep.
Don't fucking skip Dragon Ball, because you see the early aspects of what would be elements in combat later on. So Goku versus Giran or Gilan. This is the final fight of round one. Now, Gilan or Giran is a it's loosely inspired by Gojira. Now, Godzilla is a big deal in Japan. I don't have to tell anybody this. You should know this by now. If you don't, you've been living under a rock. Toriyama and pretty much every Japanese person that we know of in history has probably seen 1954's Gojira, the first one, at least the first one. And Toriyama's seen more than that. So this character is a combination of like a dinosaur with Godzilla. Now, later, when Toriyama worked on Dragon Quest, this base design for Giran would be used to create multiple characters in Dragon Quest that look similar to him, but they're not him. I love the way he looks because it's classic kaiju. But here's kind of the real secret here. Son Goku is Son Wukong. Toriyama, the other movie that the Japanese saw a lot of was 1933's King Kongu. If Great Ape Goku is supposed to be King Kong, we've got King Kong versus Godzilla, which at the time when it came out for decades was the highest grossing Godzilla movie of all time. That movie was huge in Japan and America. Clearly Toriyama's doing that here. There's no question about it. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. It's him doing his spin on each character facing each other, which is cool. It's a cool concept.
Right. And the problem is that this kaiju is bigger than Goku and physically stronger than Goku. Right? And here he goes whacking Goku. So I like how the very first move of the fight, Goku gets sucker hit. I like that. I like it because it's not just Goku's going to kill this guy. Like, he actually gets hit. And here you see Goku. I love how a lot of these fights are short, but with this one, Goku still gets damaged. Like, he gets hit into that wall. And Goku's like, oh shit, that hurt. Let's take this fight seriously. This time, Goku blocks. He sees it coming now. He's focused. It's coming now. I actually enjoy this fight, and I love that Giran says, I can't believe my eyes. That attack was strong enough to break the wall, yet somehow he's in perfect condition because Goku is stronger than a lot of... Goku has had a body stronger than steel at this point.
Yeah.
I love this because here we have another example of Toriyama's brilliant paneling and the way he does fights. Punch to the gut. Goku gets behind him, flips over behind him, grabs his tail, and does basically a variation of a judo throw, except that judo throw that Goku's doing in that panel, you grab the guy's arm and you throw him over, which Goku did to Broly in the Broly movie, but here he's doing it with Giran's tail. It's kind of like in the N64, Super Mario 64, when you fight King Koopa or Bowser, and you grab his tail and spin him around. It's the same idea. Another dinosaur creature that Godzilla was inspired by. Or, I'm sorry, Godzilla inspired Bowser. And he's a turtle. So there's a lot of connections here, bro. Don't forget that Mario runs like a Raleigh. There's a lot of Toriyama in Mario, bro. Maybe I'll do a whole video, Toriyama and Super Mario. There's a lot of that there, bro. So the issue is that Giran has wings and he can fly. So you're not going to be able to just throw him out of the ring because he can fly. Now, we saw earlier Goku threw that one dude out of the ring. This is Goku trying that again. It's not going to work. Again, Toriyama did that to foreshadow this. It worked then. It's not going to work now. This technique right here is called the Guru Guru Gum, which is the move that Majin Buu would do a version of later, where he spits this gum-like liquid or whatever. It's like gum, and it wraps around Goku. And we actually saw Majin Buu take a piece of his fat and throw it at Vegeta, and then he gets on top of him in a MMA-style full mount and just starts punching him. Which every time a Vegeta fan tells me that Vegeta's better than Buu, I send him that clip, bro. Remember that when he's just rocking his ass?
Yeah.
Poor Vegeta. So Goku's trapped. Now, this is the final chapter of Volume 3. It's called Chapter 40, Goku's Tale. So Goku's trapped. He can't move. He's squeezing him. He's in trouble. And here Giran picks up Goku and chucks him out of the ring. He's about to be eliminated. So what happens? Goku uses his ace, which is Kinto. Now, interestingly enough, the cloud does not count as being outside interference. It's just...
it's a cloud.
Yeah, it's just a cloud. He's not using it to attack Giran. He's using it to defend himself. If Giran has wings, then what? So Goku gets back into the platform, and Roshi, the announcer says the following: I've just finished talking with the chief priest, and he was decided to excuse the mysterious cloud as a special exception. So even the judges have to decide whether or not this is like, whether or not this
cheating.
is outside interference. And then here Giran starts to pummel Goku. I mean, I love these action shots. I love Toriyama's use of the angular panels and the the sort of the speed movements. He's so good, bro. Like, he's such a talented artist to be able to, because if you watch the way he does these fights, you can visualize the punch moving in your head. He makes it easy to visualize. So many comic book artists just can't get the fights down right.
Yeah, he's very fluid, for sure.
It's right. All of a sudden, Goku's tail grows back. Is this a Deus Ex Machina? Kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
I like how somebody in the chat said, "What is this manga?"
Yeah, I was trying to ignore that.
It's just like, I don't understand how you can look at this on my channel, nevertheless, with Goku being right up here and say, "What manga is this?" I'm just, all right. I have to control myself, because one of the most irritating things that I deal with is people's lack of context clues. You're on a Dragon Ball channel.
Yeah.
You are on a Dragon Ball channel. Goku is in the panel. Goku is right up here, and you're asking what manga this is.
Kid Goku, too. So
It's just, no. It's One Piece, bro. It's one. This is, we're reading One Piece. That's what this is. It's not Dragon Ball. Like, and the title even says Dragon Ball Volume 3. Like, there's so many. It's not that hard, bro. It's not that hard. Fuck, dude. And then everybody in the chat assumes he's trolling. No, dude, he's not trolling. This fandom is not only trolls. It's fucking people who are... Never mind. I'm not going to go into it. So finally, Goku uses his power that he got from his tail and breaks out of the Guru Guru gum. This freaks out Giran. This freaks him the fuck out, as you can see. Goku's like, I got out. He didn't even know how strong he was, right? And then Giran's freaking in, and then now he says, time for a counterattack. And then Giran says, I give up. He raises the white flag. He taps out before Goku could even hit him once.
Yep.
I thought it was a new chapter or something. Oh, okay, yeah. Goku's a kid again in Dragon Ball Super, bro.
Anyway.
Yeah, all right. See, I told you guys he wasn't trolling. He just doesn't know how to read context clues like so many other knuckleheads in the fandom, bro. I'm not trying to be a dick, bro, but honestly, dude, you're kind of a fucking idiot. This is a Dragon Ball channel. Kid Goku's up there. It's the Mangalorian, and you're asking if it's a new fucking chapter. That makes you dumb, dog. I'm not going to be nice to these guys anymore. That's it. I've been pushed to the edge. You're a fucking moron, dude. If it bothers you, unsubscribe and go finger your fucking asshole. I think you're fucking stupid, bro. I think you're a fucking moron. It says Dragon Ball Volume 3. It says the Mangalorian. Kid Goku's up there. Is this Super? Is this Daima? Get the fuck out if it bothers you, bro. If it bothers you, unsub and get the fuck out. I'm sorry. I can't be nice anymore, dude. I cannot be nice anymore. I have had my patience pushed and pushed and pushed. You're a fucking moron, bro. Let me get this super chat. I'd rather have like 100 smart people than 1,000 dumb ones. So this guy, hold on. Gabe Lewis said, here's an Ask FM inspired question. Who's the hottest character in Dragon Ball? And you can't say Baba. Probably Marin. What do you think?
The hottest like female character in Dragon Ball?
I'm guessing he means that, yeah. Hey, I'm sorry for calling you stupid, bro. I apologize. I take it back.
A lot of them look similar, if I'm being honest. I don't know.
Omni said that he won. Remember how there's a new series coming where everyone is a kid again, geekdom? Oh, no, I totally forgot about that, even though I'm the first one that broke that, but I forgot. You're right. You know what, bro? I kind of want you to unsubscribe. I ain't even going to lie. I kind of want you to unsubscribe. You could have read the title of the video, bro. I kind of want you to go. But you don't have to if you don't want to. I take it back. I apologize. Please don't unsubscribe. I need money. I'll be like every other YouTuber, bro. Yeah, like Yak said, next time read the title and like look and figure it out. Go ahead, Jordan.
I was just going to read the third super chat. Is Krillin stronger than Yamcha throughout DB before Z? Because as a kid, I thought Krillin didn't surpass him until the Saiyan saga. Both of their powers fluctuate as the series progresses. Like they don't, they both get stronger and weaker like than each other. So it's not consistent in that way.
Davion said he wanted to say Toe. That's funny. He said that he wouldn't say it because it's a hero's character, but it's still a Dragon Ball character. All right, so Xavier says, is Krillin stronger than Yamcha throughout DB before Z? Because he's, as a kid, I thought Krillin didn't surpass him until the Saiyan saga. That's that's an interesting question. What do you think? Is Krillin stronger than Yamcha? I don't think he's. I think at one point in the 22nd tournament he may be. I don't know about.
I think he's probably stronger than Yamcha right now because he just trained under Roshi.
Yes, right now.
Yeah. That's the whole point, is that Yamcha ends up training with Roshi afterwards, and then they even themselves out a little bit, you know.
But I still feel like throughout most of the series, Krillin's stronger. There may have come a time where Yamcha was stronger, but it was only temporary.
Right.
Omni Entertainment, you're right, bro. I lost. I cracked. Omni, you're right, brother. I cracked. You saw me crack, bro. People are going to take that out of context, say I was being a dick, even though the guy asked a really, really stupid question. But it's whatever, bro. I should expect that now. I've been doing this for 9 years. You're going to get a lot of people who don't read the title, who don't look at context clues and just ask questions without thinking like for 2 seconds. I deal with it all the time, bro. Oh, okay. So he says it's boring. Okay, well, if that's the case, bro, then I'm just gonna fucking ban you from the channel. If I'm boring, the same guy who just came in the chat, I'm boring, but you're a fucking idiot, bro. I'm boring, you're a fucking idiot, bro. Okay. And by the way, everybody in the chat now knows that you're not a troll and that you're a fucking moron. Get out. Thanks for your service. Get the fuck out. I told you, Omni. I told you the guy was an idiot. I mean, I told you, bro. Anyways, this is the end of the chapter. So we're finishing off, or the volume. We're finishing off the volume. I did ban him. I already got his ass out, bro. I asked him to unsubscribe, but I just decided to just ban him. So whatever. This is the end of volume 3. The next volume, it goes into the semifinals, the finals, and it starts the Red Ribbon Army arc. So they pack a lot. Time it. That's a great question. I wish I knew. Time it. I'm over here thinking about the guy in the chat. Time it, not the other guy who I banned. The volumes basically, they just pack in a number of chapters. They're not divided up by arcs. It's just like a bunch of chapters packed in together. So you're going to get like the end of the tournament, and then it goes right into the next arc.
Yeah, I mean, it is a great place to end it, but yeah, they don't do it based on anything in particular, not to my knowledge.
It's just the number of chapters. I think because people have to remember, when this was first being written by Toriyama, this is an 11-year manga nonstop. It went from 1986 all the way to 1995. I'm sorry, 1984. 86 was the anime. 84 to 95. It's 11 years. And it's one chapter after another. So you're supposed to read it nonstop. But for the purposes of this stream, I was thinking about doing it chapter by chapter, but then you and I would have like 500 streams. I wanted to just cut it down to like 42.
Yeah, this was the best way to do it, I think, for sure.
Not to mention, we could also do like Jocko and Sandland at some point, because those are like, Sandland might not be like part of the Mangalorian. It could be like a special episode where we cover Sandland, and Jocko is Toriyama. Jocko's all written by Toriyama, so that we probably will cover that at some point.
Yeah, and Sandland's awesome. So
the only thing that I don't know what we're going to do is where we're going to do the story of Trunks, because the story of Trunks is oftentimes put at the end of the volume. So you read all 42 volumes and they put the Trunks thing at the very end, like in the last book.
I don't know if this one's set up that way. It could be, but I'm not for sure. But we'll find out. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I don't think this one's set up that way either, but we will figure it out when we get to that part. So next time we will do volume 4 and continue more action. And there's going to be a lot of action coming up, and then we can go into Red Ribbon. So it'll be a good time. I don't know if it'll be next week or the week after, but it will be a good time. We've hit the 2-hour mark, bro. Any final words before we get out of here?
No. I had a blast. I hope everybody else had a great time.
I want to thank the chat. I want to thank most of the chat who wasn't an idiot like that one guy. I do want to thank you guys for not being that stupid and then saying it's boring. That's the kind of fan that I don't want. Like, I don't want those kind of people around here. I'd rather have a channel with like 10,000 smart people than 2 million morons. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, you take the good with the bad here, but most of the people in the chat today were good. So I may have a video coming out on Saturday. Not a news video. It's more of a history video coming out on Saturday. So we'll look forward to. I don't know which one yet, but I might have something coming out. So with that being said, for Jordan, this is Danny. See you when we see you next week.